to spend my life mending broken people. I want to spend my life removing pain. Lord, let my words heal a heart that hurts. I want to spend my life mending broken people. I want to spend my life mending broken people.
Welcome to 3abn Today Cooking with yours truly, Nyse Collins. It's such a privilege and a pleasure to be here to fellowship with you all in your home and share the goodness and the good news of the gospel through our lives, our body and our mind and our spirit. I'm excited as well because we have the opportunity at Sanare Life. That's right, Sanare Life. It's a company ministry, and it's our focus to encourage people in living a healthy lifestyle. That word sanare is a Latin word, and that word means to heal, to cure, and to restore. And we believe that God's people will be restored as they are educated. And the key to education is encouragement. So our focus through this program today, we hope that you will be encouraged that you too can live the lifestyle that God will want you to live and present your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and acceptable. This is your reasonable service. The Lord is basically saying this is the least we can do. And we have had the opportunity to travel the world and share this with individuals. We worked with one gentleman. His blood pressure was through the roof. Literally through the roof. I mean, as we all know, normal number should be 120 over 80, optimal 110 over 70. His number was almost 210 over 111. It was extremely high. And he says, what can I do? And he says, what do I need to eat? What do I need to, And I said, hey, look here, brother, it's really not about that. Healing, most importantly, comes from God. He was like, I know, but what food do I need to eat? I said, you ever had a slice of the bread of life? He was like, yeah. I said, well, let's pray, and then let's see what we can do to help you with what you're doing. And what we realized in his lifestyle, wasn't a big thing that he was doing. Yes, stress played a part, but we found out it was a lot of little things that he was doing. Maybe the way he was eating, probably staying up a little bit later than he should have. A lot of little things. And for us to say, hey, change everything will be overwhelming. So what we did is we focused on just the little habits. And that's why we've had the opportunity to develop the simple program called the 24 Days to Realistic Health and Healing. And what it is a simple program to focus on the habits, just little habits that we are doing. And you know what? He was like, I need to change everything. We said, well, first we're going to pray, because healing comes from who? Comes from God. And the next thing we did, I actually opened it up with him, and I said, choose one goal. And he was like, well, maybe I can start exercising every day. And he says, but do I need to change my diet? I said, well, then let's do this. Before you change your diet, just focus on exercising. Just do that consistently. If we can be successful in just one little thing and do it consistently for about 24 days or 21 days, however much, then that will give you the encouragement and strength to say, hey, now after the first 24 days, I'm going to focus on water. And then you do that. And then it becomes a what, everybody? It becomes a habit. And as you start developing these habits, then we notice over an extended period of time, then your whole lifestyle begins to change. What we realize is that many people try to do too much, and then it becomes overwhelming. So just do one thing. If there's one thing that you can do that with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your spirit, and then that's where the healing will come from, because healing is a blessing from God. It is obedience to his health principles. So let's do the best that we can. Carrots are good, but even though we know carrots are good for the what? for the eyes, we would still go blind even drinking carrot juice, if possible. Why? Because the healing is not in a carrot, but the healing comes from God. But carrots are still good for your eyes as well. So let's do our part. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to look, many people who are following the program says, hey, how do I eat on the run? Well, that's kind of not possible. You can't run and eat at the same time. It actually disrupts your digestive system. Sometimes when you read through some of the principles, it says sometimes it's better not to eat than to rush down your meal because your stomach is not ready, the stress is taking place, and then the food is not properly digested. So what we encourage people to do is try your best to sit down and eat. But we do understand, even myself, I live literally traveling on the road. Sometimes you want some meals that are a little bit quicker, or maybe food that you can travel with as well. So that's what we're going to do today. It's going to be food or take it to go, food to go. Some simple recipes that we can do to make sure that we are following the basic principles that God has given us, but eat healthy or eating healthy as well. So the good news is that gentleman, he implemented some of these simple adjustments in the 24-day program, and you know what happened? Within the first 12 days, his numbers had dropped 20, 30, 40, almost 50 points. And all he started to do was go out and start walking every day. Of course, I told him to pray as well. And now his numbers are back down to normal. It's about 122 the last I checked, 122 over about 85, which is, hey, that's much better than somebody who is way through the roof. So I want to encourage you, just the simple things that you can do it with all your might, all your strength, all your heart. So today, I want to give you a quick synopsis. We're going to see what we are going to be doing today. And one of the things is the key is having a good breakfast. So we're going to make some blazing bran muffins today. It's a fantastic food to go. And we're going to make some, yes, that is a word, crenana. Well, it's a word here on this show at least. Crenana muffins. Don't worry about that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So we're going to have some of that. Everybody loves Mexican food and stuff. You want a bean burrito, but we're gonna make a brisk bean burrito. Not per se a cold one, but something that you can do quick on the move, not on the run there. And one of the key ingredients to having that, you gotta have some cheese, all right? So we're gonna make our cheesy wheezy sauce to just add some flavor to that, because food on the go shouldn't be boring. It should be tasty and healthy. And then everybody knows you can always find a salad somewhere, but not all the salads are the best. So today we're gonna make what is known as the Tasty Chicken Salad. Tasty Chicken Salad. And with that salad, you need to give that chicken, that's a play on words again, some flavor. And we're gonna make the chicken style seasoning, which really highlights that recipe there to make that tasty chicken. And then to wrap it all up, we're gonna make, everybody knows, everywhere I travel is peppered pasta. Now, not really pepper pasta, but pasta is always usually around. And we're going to show you some ways to incorporate some of the healthful pepper items, including per se the red bell pepper, into making our peppered pasta. So breakfast is the key. You should never leave home without it. Some credit cards say never leave home without it. Well, more important than your credit card is breakfast. When you're traveling somewhere, or let's say we're catching a flight or you're driving and your car or the plane is on empty, when do you put the gas in? You put it in now or when you get to your destination? You have to put in the gas now. So why do we treat the body, the most important vehicle of our lives, different? Why do we leave home without a breakfast, okay? So that's why today we're gonna make, in order to make good, quick meals, you have to plan. So we're gonna make some serious, healthful, tasty, and delicious muffins that will be good. So when you are heading out that house, you can grab your fruits, your muffin, and hit the door. And of course, the nuts that go along with it. So here's our first recipe. It is the blazing bran muffins. All you're gonna need is 1 cup of whole wheat pastry flour, 1 cup oat bran. Then we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of featherweight baking powder, 1/4 cup of chopped pine nuts or nuts of your choice, 1/4 cup raisins, which is optional. If you like it sweet, then you'll add that. 3/4 cup of coconut milk, 1/4 cup of agave honey, 1/2 teaspoon of coriander. And then for the crenana muffins, what the crenana muffin is, we'll tell you here shortly, is basically cranberry banana. 1 cup of whole wheat pastry flour, 1 cup of oat bran, 2 teaspoons of featherweight baking powder, 1/4 cup of dried cranberries, 1 cup of mashed ripe bananas, 3/4 cup of coconut milk, again, 1/4 cup of agave or honey, and then you have 1 teaspoon of cardamom there. Right there, simple recipe. I know we all can do it. And the cool thing about this is we're gonna make actually 2 different types of muffins because nobody wants to eat the same muffin every day. Actually, I've heard this before. Oh, when you change your lifestyle and become healthy, why do we have to eat the same food? I need variety. I'm a little concerned about that. Why? Because when people were eating whatever they wanted to eat, nobody complained about variety. We ate scrambled this every morning. We ate toast that every morning. We ate this every morning for years. And now when people want to do healthy, all of a sudden, oh, I need variety. I can't eat the same thing every day. No problem. We're going to give you variety. But if you only had bran muffins to eat every morning, to God be the glory. But today we're going to make 2 of them, okay? So basically, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and put all of those ingredients. So this one we're going to use for our bran. And then this one over here, this is the blazing bran. And then this one is going to be the cranana, okay? So I'm going to have both of them here together. And then we're going to add our other dry ingredients. So we use the featherweight. This is a option that people can use instead of baking powder or what else do they use? The aluminum-free stuff. You can try that. If you don't want to use that as well, you have the option. Some people put in applesauce or something like that. However, your muffin's going to look like an applesauce. It's going to be flat. But hey, it doesn't matter. It all goes in and comes out the same way, hopefully. All right, too much information here on TV. So what we're going to do, we're going to mix up those dry ingredients. And one of them, we're going to add coriander. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of coriander. Coriander is fantastic. We use the coriander instead of cinnamon. Okay, so we're going to use coriander instead of cinnamon. Coriander seed, this is the powder one. And then on the other one, because we want a little nutmeg flavor, on our cranana muffins, which is banana and cranberry, we're going to add just a pinch of cardamom. All right, so you can see the cardamom there. We're just going to use cardamom, C-A-R-D-A-M-O-N, cardamom. We're going to use that instead of nutmeg, all right? Because the cinnamon we find does a little irritation to the digestive tract, and the nutmeg, they say in some cases, has a narcotic effect. What? And I've been using nutmeg my whole life. But yes, so what we're going to do is we're going to try to avoid that. I'll talk a little bit about that if I have time later, about the cardamom and the nutmeg there, how that plays about. So basically, you mix both of them. One of them, okay, all right, they're still kind of even. One of them, we're going to put the pine nuts. I like pine nuts. Pine nuts is very good for the brain as well. It provides quite a bit of vitamins and minerals that is helpful for that. So I'm going to add that to that one. And then over here, I'm going to also add some raisins, all right? So some raisins. So take a look at that real quick, and I'm gonna grab that. And what else do I have? So I'm gonna mix this up. And then, now I'm gonna move on to the next one. If you notice, we had a special ingredient, and we had 2 of them. One of them to sweeten it up a little bit was the agave, okay? And then we also use what is known as coconut milk. So I actually did this because this is pretty cool. If you all can take a look at that, you see the agave at the bottom, and at the top is the coconut milk. So I went ahead and just put it all together so you all can see that there. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix these 2 up now. Okay, I'm gonna mix these 2 together. And basically, 1 cup will go for the blazing bran muffins, and the other one will be, I was just looking, I just need to grab one other item. One other one we're gonna use for the cranana muffins, okay? But we can't forget, we need to do the banana. So we have a ripe banana, a very ripe one. All right, so these are the ones that many people use for banana bread, but now we can use it for our banana muffin. And then we're gonna mash that up, okay? So here it is, I'm just gonna mash that up. I know there's a lot of stuff in the way here. So I'm just gonna mash up this banana. All right. And then I'm gonna put that in my mixture here, okay? So I'm gonna pour that. It says 1 to 2 bananas. I'm just gonna put 1 just for sake of the cause. Okay, now watch this. A lot of people say bananas are not good for diabetics. Bananas actually are good. What the problem is with the banana is how the diabetic is using it. They're using it when it gets to this point, and that's not good. They show that the banana can be used as soon as it goes from green to yellow, then they can use it. But sometimes we wait until it gets too ripe, and so that's not the time that we want to use it. I don't understand why the good food always gets the blame. But when the diabetic is turning around eating cake, nobody say anything about that. But when it comes to banana, oh yeah, can't eat bananas, no, no, no. Actually, it's helpful for you. So as you can see, we're gonna mix that there, and I'm going to add one more ingredient to that. And I'm just gonna grab this cranberry to make sure my banana muffin lines up. And remember, again, it's only about 1/4 cup, but hey, you're at home, you're cooking, you do what you see is best, okay? So basically, I'm gonna mix all of these ingredients up. Now, I'm going to add, since I mixed both of them, it calls for about 3/4 cups of coconut milk and 1/4 cup of agave. I basically mixed all of it up, so I had 2 cups, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm gonna pour 1 cup over here. All right, so that's almost 1 cup there. And then I'm gonna pour the other cup here, all right? Now, I'm breaking the rule here. You gotta mix it properly, all right? So with these muffins, you don't want to over mix it, okay? But you just wanna do it nicely. And I've seen so many muffin recipes and they look so good and tasty, but when you see the amount of oil and stuff that they put in it, Lord have mercy. So what we're doing to make ours nice and soft is using that coconut milk there. So now our oil is not gonna be just fat, but it's gonna be a nutritious type of fat. So that's why this recipe is gonna hold you nicely when you eat it for breakfast, okay? So then I did that with that one. And if you notice, you don't have to whisk it. You just wanna get it going there till it gets all nice. Man, I can smell that banana muffin already. So here it is, we're just gonna mix this up. And then it'll come, just be patient. It will come together. And the good news is we have the bran in there. So now, it's gonna be healthy. Because have you ever seen some of those bran muffins that they sell at the store lately? When you look at the ingredients, Lord have mercy, you wonder why that blood sugar goes so high. And they're loaded with eggs and different items as well. So here it is, we're gonna mix that. Then I just have, every home has to have one of these, your muffin tray. And now they even have some no-stick spray. This one is a coconut oil base, so I'm just gonna do it lightly. If you just have regular oil, you could just put that as well. Please don't kill me for using that, but it works nicely, okay? So here it is. All we're gonna do is we're just gonna put a good spoonful in there, and you're gonna do about, how many of those? Should be about 6 each, okay? Just put it in there nicely, and watch this. Take the time now to make these muffins, and watch this. When that morning comes and you're running late, don't skip your devotions, of course. You have your devotion, like, Lord, I need time to eat. Lord will say, hey, didn't you make one of those banana muffins that Nyse showed you how to make there? You can grab this, grab your fruits as you walk outside the door, and you should be good. And this has pine nuts in it too, so it's gonna be really good. Matter of fact, y'all gonna enjoy it so much, you may even try to take 2. Well, the good news is, it's good for you. So no problem if you take 2. So that's that, and then we're gonna do the same thing with the other muffin here. All right, just gonna pour it. Some people use a little ice cream scooper to do it. Theirs look pretty. like I said, it all goes in and it all comes out the same, no matter how pretty it went in. And then I already have some bacon there for you, so you're gonna be able to see that here shortly. So we have the pine nuts, good for that. We have the bran, which will help keep things moving along in the digestive tract. And then we also have the oats, and then you have the whole wheat pastry flour. So now you can indulge in a good thing, all right? So basically one more to go. I'm gonna put this, you wanna preheat the oven, 350, should be good in about 30 minutes. So even if you were daring and try to make this in the morning while you're rushing, it's less than 30 minutes. You can put it in before you take a shower, as long as you don't take one of those long showers, and then you should be good when you come out. So here's what I'm doing. I'm gonna head over to the oven. I have one preheated already. I'm gonna put this in there. All right, should be, let's see here. All right, bake. All right, so that one should be ready to go. And then here is, it's warm. Here is the other one. All right, so here it is. This is how it should look. Really nice. Woo! They look so good, you can't tell one from the other. And that's all right. That's a sign of a true Christian. They all do the same. So you can enjoy these. I'll show you these a little bit later. I'm gonna put this to the side, and we're gonna move on to our next recipe, because that is breakfast on the run. You grab one or two of those. So here it is. We need a brisk bean burrito, a burrito that we can have on the move. And all you need is one whole wheat tortilla, 2 spoonfuls of cooked beans, 2 spoonfuls of cooked brown rice. Then we also have 1 spoonful of diced tomatoes, or you can use salsa, 1/2 sliced avocado. And then we're gonna have the cheesy wheezy sauce. What is that? And then we're gonna season these items to taste, as we can see. But we're also gonna look at the cheesy wheezy sauce. That is 2 1/2 cup of water. We're gonna divide those up according to how it blends. 2 cups of raw cashews. Then we're gonna have 1/2 cup of roasted red bell pepper or pimento. Then we're gonna have 1/3 cup of nutritional yeast, 1/4 cup of lemon juice, 1 tablespoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then you basically, all of that just to say blend it all up. Can you believe that? What a recipe. So we're gonna take those items, then we're gonna grab our burrito. Then, watch this. I know, I don't really subscribe to using canned stuff or stuff, but let's be honest, sometimes when you're on the run, you don't have time, and it's better to eat something at home. So what you normally do with the beans and stuff, if you don't have time to cook them, you get them in a can, just rinse them out properly there, so you don't have all of those additional ingredients. You can go ahead, and because they've already been cooked, you can go ahead, get that going. Just put a little bit of olive oil there, a little sprinkle of salt. Now this is not even in a recipe, because that's how, I didn't even show you the recipe because that's how easy it is to make, all right? So you just go ahead and get that going. And then you already have the beans for your bean burrito. Salsa, try your best if you can, just do it fresh. But if you don't have time, again, they make a lot of good salsas out there that don't have vinegar and stuff in it. So, hey, that's good news. You don't have to worry about that. And you can enjoy that as well. So that already is almost done. And then we have to make, however, your cheesy wheezy sauce, okay? So we're gonna go ahead. I already have brown rice. For a person on the run, what I like to do at the beginning of the week, I like to make a big or a decent sized pot of brown rice, because there's so many different things that you can do with the brown rice. You can just have brown rice and beans, or you can have a bean burrito, or you can even do a quick stir fry as well. So, matter of fact, I should come back and do a show just around rice, and another show just around beans, and how many different ways you can go ahead and do it. The reason why I'm excited today is because this is how I eat at home. I eat quick, I eat simple, but I try my best to eat healthfully, all right? So what I need to do, however, I need to get my cheesy wheezy sauce going. So all you need is a blender. All right. Then take that. We're gonna put all of our ingredients that we had. So we had the roasted red bell pepper. Want to put that in first there. Then we have the nutritional yeast flakes. Okay, we put all the dry ingredients, the garlic powder, the onion powder, as we see here. You even put the salt as well, a little bit light as you see there. And then you add the lemon juice. Then we go with those are just the simple raw cashews, okay? So just raw cashews. If you want to make cheese sauce or almond, sometimes you can go ahead and do that. And then, where is, oh, there it is. There's my water, okay? Then I'm gonna just add a little bit of water. Basically, I'm gonna take all these items up. I think you all have done a cheese sauce before. If you haven't, you take those items up and let's just blend it real quick. So what you want to do is make sure it's blended properly because this is cheesy wheezy sauce, not cheesy chunky sauce, all right? So we want to make sure that is done well. If you notice, I didn't quite add all the water. Why? Because if I could find a way to blend it and make it thick at the same time, then that'll be easier. Because a lot of recipes, you notice they put a lot of water, and of course you have to have a good blender. They put a lot of water and then you have to take it and put it back on the stove and cook it until it becomes thick again. Well, hey, if I just make it thick now, then I don't have to thicken it later. Some recipes even call for cornstarch, but then again, that's to thicken it. And I always say, hey, cornstarch thickens outside, but when it goes in the system, it don't stop thickening. So you can use cornstarch every now and then, but don't overuse it. As a result, people wondering why number 2 is not working properly, if you get what I'm saying, okay? So I have to talk to y'all about this, because if I don't, your GI specialist will, all right? So let's talk about it now in freedom and in good health, all right? So here we go. I'm gonna even try a little bit of this. Woo-hoo! Man, that thing makes you dance. Oh, no dancing on TV. Amen, amen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the cheesy wheezy sauce first, okay? I'm gonna take about a spoonful of that, and I'm just gonna layer. Let me just go ahead and make some room here so you can see what's going on. And I'm just going to layer or just put a nice little spread on my bean burrito, okay? So here we go. I'm just gonna put a little bit there. One person asked, can we do the thick sort, the thick cheese where you get to slice it? I say, what's the point? Because now you make a cheese that you slice, and then you slice it, and then you try to melt it again. Let's just leave it the way it is, okay? So here it is. So I'm not gonna make one, and then in order to make the slicing cheese, you have to add agar and Ames kosher gelatin and all that stuff, and they found out it wasn't as kosher as they thought it was. So then I'm gonna add some of that rice to that. All right, layer that on there. Let me grab another one. I'm gonna take about a spoonful or so of my beans. You can make 2, 3 of these and head out the door. Then I got my my salsa. All right, remember, no dancing, no salsa, no salsa in the house of the Lord. Wait, I mean the seasoning there. You put a little bit of salsa there. Ooh, that's looking good. But you cannot have a bean burrito without some, where is she? Without some, what do we need, everybody? You need some avocado, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a slice or so of the avocado, put that on there. Oh my goodness, when you make this, bring this to work, please. Make 2 or 3 of them, and your friends will be like, hey, did you go to the Mexican restaurant? You're gonna say yes. They're gonna say, where? You're gonna say, my house. And then take orders. And then you just wrap that up nicely there. Oh man, look at this, y'all. Lord, look at that. That is yummy for my tummy. Fantastic. So a simple bean burrito that you can make, we call that the brisk bean burrito with the cheesy weezy sauce. You can also use this sauce for pasta and different items. Matter of fact, talking about pasta, I think I have a pasta recipe coming up here soon. But before we do that, we're gonna need what is one of the main foods to go, or the brisk foods to go that everybody likes to eat, and it is salad. So what we're gonna make, however, is our tasty chicken salad. Tasty chicken salad. And here's a simple recipe to make tasty chicken salad. All you need is a 14-ounce package of extra firm tofu. You need 2 tablespoons of oil, as we see there, 2 tablespoons of kicking chicken style. What? Somebody, that style seasoning is kicking somebody. And then 1 bowl of salad. And here's the recipe for the kicking chicken style seasoning. You have 2 cups of nutritional yeast flakes. Then we're gonna add 1/3 cup of onion powder, 1/3 cup of some salt, as we see there. What else do we have? Then we're gonna add 2.5 tablespoons of dried parsley, 1 tablespoon of sucanat or cane juice crystals. Then we're gonna add 1 1/2 tablespoon of garlic powder, 3/4 teaspoon of celery seed, 1/4 cup of salt-free Italian seasoning, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. A matter of fact, I think cumin is my secret ingredient. I'm gonna put this in the fridge real quick. That's my secret ingredient to making this recipe, okay? And with the cheesy weezy sauce, this will last about 3 days or whatever. You don't want it to last too long, because if it's lasting too long, that means it's probably not good for you. There are a lot of preservatives in there that not even a fungus want to touch. So we're gonna put that on the side here real quick. So in order to make that, number one, you're gonna need a salad. And we'll get to this a little bit later here. You need a salad. Let me clean up. And then we're gonna move our delicious, blazing, brisk bean burrito. Okay, and then we're gonna get our tofu. So we have our tofu. I'm gonna share with you a simple way to do the tofu here. And then we also need our ingredients for the kickin' chicken style seasoning. Kickin' chicken style seasoning is a real good one. So if you take a little shot there, you can see what it is. I basically went ahead and put it all together, because mixing stuff is just a hassle, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a simple little fork here, and I'm gonna mix this in this plate first. Then I'm gonna go ahead and blend it a little bit to get that texture going. So here it is. I'm gonna take all of those ingredients, I'm gonna mix them up here, and then I'm gonna pour some of it into the blender, okay? I'm gonna pour some of it right in the blender, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this kickin' chicken style seasoning for you. Then we're gonna show you how to make the tasty chicken. So you mix those items up. Let me see if I get a spoon to get that going. And then I'm gonna put this in the blender, okay? All right, so I'm gonna put this in the blender, and we're gonna blend these items up, because that will help it to break up together. I got the spoon with the, all right, here we go. So I'm gonna try my best to fit in as much as possible the Italian seasoning. All of this, when it comes together, it gives you that chicken style flavor. And the good thing is you don't need to buy this, literally. You don't need to buy this. You can make it yourself at home. It's much cheaper. And if you notice here, it's a lot. Okay, so here it is. So I got it all together. And then I'm gonna get my blender again. Make sure, however, your blender or the container is super dry, because if it has any moisture in it, it's gonna spoil everything. You're gonna have to make it all over again. So I'm just gonna go ahead and blend it till it becomes nice and powdery there. All right, there you go. If you notice, it has that powdery essence there. And so this, I'll give you a quick shot here. This is how it should look there. If you notice, you put this in a container, and man, the key to having food on the go is making sure you have your seasonings ready. And literally, I have to give you one word of advice. Please pay attention here. Do not get addicted to this seasoning, because some people, they use this seasoning for everything. Still diversify your skill set in regards to that. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a little bit of the olive oil here, okay? And then I'm gonna take also my tofu. All right, so here's basically the tofu. As you see here, I'm gonna get this going a little bit. I'm gonna take the tofu and I'm gonna just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can cut it however you want. Because I like to have it and make it last long, because if I just leave it like this, I'm gonna eat it all. I go ahead and I cut it again. All right, people, be careful with your knife, of course. These knives here are uniquely special, and so that means they don't cut as bad. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it across to make it into squares. You could do this on a plate. I'm just trying to do it because I'm on the run, okay? So we take all of that. All right, get that going. And what I like to do, if you notice here, so I got that going, then I can take my seasoning, make sure you have a good dry spoon, and you just sprinkle the seasoning over it, all right? It almost sounds like it's frying there. And this is really, really good. This is a fantastic recipe. I like to make this recipe when my friends are coming over who don't eat the way I eat. And I make this. Why do I make this for them? Because they be like, man, that stuff nice. We thought you don't eat chicken. And I said, I don't. Yeah, but that stuff you just made tastes like chicken. And I said, that's my special ingredient there. That's the kickin' chicken style seasoning. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more. If you notice, we had salt in this, so you don't wanna add too much, but you wanna make sure it's covered nicely. One person said, man, that seasoning tastes so good, you should package it and sell it. Uh-oh. Nobody try to steal this recipe, okay? So I have that seasoning going. That's gonna take just a little while because you want to make sure that it cooks properly, cooks all the way through. If you notice there, you see how it's evenly distributed there. So you go ahead, you let that go. You can put the stove, if you have a non-stick pan, a little bit higher, and that's gonna help expedite that, okay? So I just put a little bit there to get that going. All right, now the salad is the easy part. This is the part that takes a little bit of time. So what I'm gonna do, let that go there. We already had our beans. Did y'all want another bean burrito? How about, that's a good idea. How about we make a brisk bean burrito with tasty chicken inside of it. You see, because for the salad part, let me show you something. The salad, all you have to do is just put a little bit of lemon juice on that. Some people do oil. I try not to use too much, just only in items like this. And all you do is put your chicken or your chicken, watch your mouth nice. You put your chicken over that and you just toss it nicely. You could even put some sliced almonds as well on top of that and bring that to work and ooh-hoo. People are gonna be like, what is going on? Where did you buy that? Again, you tell them the local store at your house. And that's one of the ways you can do it. However, you don't wanna put the tasty chicken on the salad hot. You're gonna have to let it cool down a little bit because what it'll do is it'll cook your salad there. It'll wilt it down. So here it is, a simple tofu that you can buy can literally last you a couple of days. One person says living a healthy lifestyle is expensive. That is kind of true, but it's false. Why is it false? Because a healthy lifestyle is actually cheap if you do the food for yourself. It becomes expensive when you have other people making the food for you. The other day I went to one of these health supermarkets. Lord have mercy. I almost cried. I went and all I did was buy I bought an avocado sandwich. All right, I don't know how y'all say sandwich. We say sandwich, I'm from Brooklyn. And I bought an avocado sandwich. And when I went to check out, the lady was like, thank you, that's gonna be $12.32. I'm like, who? So I'm looking around like, what else? You probably put something else in my stuff. That can't be. She said, no, that is $12.32. Of course, I had a little healthy baked chips or something like that. And I said, ma'am, that is too much. So everybody on the line was watching me and they was like, move, move, move. I'm like, return that. I went back in the same overpriced, expensive supermarket and I went and I bought an avocado. I bought a loaf of bread. I still got my little baked chips as we see there. And I actually bought 2 avocados. And you know what? I went to check out and the lady like laughed at me. She was like, ha ha ha. She was like, you're still buying an avocado sandwich. And I said, yes, what's my price? She was like, oh, it's gonna be about $13. She said, you're actually paying even more. You should have got it. I said, ha ha ha, funny you, but I have now avocado sandwich for the whole week instead of just one meal. So when you prepare your own food, it's very what? Cheap. But when you have other people preparing it for you, then it becomes expensive. So take a quick look at my tasty chicken here. You notice it's starting to brown nicely there. So you let that cook a little bit more and you're gonna enjoy that. So I'm just gonna move this because while that is cooking, I wanna move on to my last little recipe and then we'll finish this all up. We'll tie it all up together. And it is the peppered pasta. That's right, the pepper pasta. All you need is one 16-ounce package of whole grain pasta, a jar, one 10-ounce jar of roasted chopped red bell peppers, as we see there. And then we're going to add one 15-ounce can, a small can of small white beans, as you see there, 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning, 2 thinly sliced leeks, the white part only, 1/2 cup of veggie broth, 1 tablespoon of drained capers, and then we're gonna add 1/3 cup of chopped fresh basil, and then we're gonna season all of those items to taste, okay? So if you notice here, I'm going ahead and just keeping an eye on that. So I'm gonna get my leeks. Got that ready there. I'm gonna bring most of the other items over. I'm just gonna move this stuff out of the way. So I have the leeks, we just gotta cut up the leeks. We have our beans already. I'll just use that cutting board. And basically all you wanna do is just get the white part of it. The other part, you can use that for a, I don't know, a soup or something like that. And what we're gonna do, let me just cut that part right there. We're gonna thinly slice these. Oh, that ran away from me. Let me get this going. Keep an eye on that. This is what happens when you get too many things going on at the same time. So I'm gonna thinly slice these. This is gonna be very nice. And then I gotta get another pot going real quick because I need to make sure I cook these well. So we're gonna add just a little bit of oil to get that going again, okay? So here it is, a little bit of oil. See, the last recipe, I didn't have to add any salt because the chicken style seasoning already had the salt in it, okay? So I'm gonna get that. What I want to do, there's a couple ways to do it. You can saute these first, and then you can go ahead. I'm making a whole lot here. See, another thing when you're going ahead and making these recipes, I like to cook a little extra. Why do I like to cook a little extra? Because now I can use this recipe, instead of just making it once, I can just continue to still make it once, but now I can have it for more than one meal. Make sense? If you notice, I'm trying to find ways that we can have food on the run. And so that's one of the ways that you can do it. Plan your different meals out, and then you can have this food on the run, okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. I gotta slice my bell peppers. I got a little test for everybody. When you think about vitamin C, what comes to your mind? Okay, everybody wants to say orange, okay? Now this is true, orange is good, and it does have a good amount of vitamin C. However, this bell peppers, it knows it's about to be eaten. However, that is true, but it does not have as much vitamin C as this right here. This sweet red bell pepper actually has, they say, up to 4 times the amount of vitamin C than and orange. Did you hear that there? The red bell pepper has 4 times, up to 4 times the amount of vitamin C than an orange. So, when cold and flu season comes around, what do I want you to go ahead and have some of? I want you to have some sweet red bell pepper. All right, so here we go. So we got that pepper pasta going. And we have our tasty chicken. Then we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients. Ooh, it's smelling good in here, y'all. This is what we call a pepper pasta. All right. So we got that. If you want, you could also add a green onion. Then we're gonna go ahead, let's see. All right, that tasty chicken, I'm gonna just go ahead and lower it down a little bit so I can make sure I get all the way through. All right, there we go. So, then I'm gonna go ahead and add my veggie broth to that, my veggie stock, okay? So that's one way that will get going. We'll make sure that's there nicely. Oh, this is delicious. This is gonna be a simple thing that you can do. Literally, if you're keeping track with me here, you can, this recipe doesn't take that much. What happened is I'm mixing up the recipes, okay? I'm just gonna add, I don't even need to put this in the recipe. I'm just gonna add a little bit of onion powder. Don't worry, a little bit of garlic powder, and a key ingredient, because we're gonna be doing this with pasta, is a little bit of Italian seasoning. This is only a viewers only exclusive. If you go to the website, you may not see these extra ingredients. Only those who are watching 3ABN Today Cooking is gonna get that little extra bit in there, all right? To get that going. So that's gonna come out nicely. Then I'm gonna add my capers to that. All right. I was just in Italy, and they had some good meals, but the best Italian meal is the one that you do at home. Okay, so this is gonna be a good hearty recipe that you can have, and then we're gonna add the white beans to that. All right. How's my tasty chicken doing? All right, that looks pretty good. That's gonna be a favorite, I'm telling you. Pull this out when friends and family are over, they are gonna be shocked. But don't try it at the last minute. So it's real simple to make. You can go ahead and put that over your salad. So while this cooks, I'm gonna take my pasta that is already made. I'm just gonna throw out the excess water here. All right. So there that is. That's the pasta there. This is marinating nicely. You can smell it. It smells yummy there. All right, got that. And then I'm gonna put some of this pasta in the bowl. It's real simple. There's 2 ways that you can actually use this recipe here. You can make it nice and hot and eat it as a quick little meal to go, or you can let it cool, and then the next day you put it in a nice little Tupperware little plastic item, and you can use it as a cold salad. If you notice, many shops, many stands, delis and stuff, they will have these little cold salads. And you're like, oh my goodness, you read the ingredients, you're like, man, why there's so much stuff go into it? Well, now you don't have to worry about that. Why? Because you're doing it yourself, okay? So here's my tasty chicken. Look at how they're bouncing. Nobody needs to buy chicken nuggets anymore. Not when you got tasty chicken nuggets. All right, so that's simple. And then we'll get that one going there. So, as we do that, I'm just gonna move this out of the way so we can see it. It's finished product. And oh, I did promise you all to make another brisk bean burrito. But this time I'm gonna do it with the tasty chicken, yeah? So while this goes, let me get that. Here it is again. So I'm gonna do like 2 of them, all right? So I already did this one that I made for you all. Then I'm gonna go ahead, the same basic principle to making this with the tasty chicken. I'm gonna go ahead, just pour that on there. So now we put our cheese on first, instead of putting it on last, the cheesy wheezy sauce. Then we're gonna have our rice to go on that. How you guys doing over there? You looking good? All right. This one is almost ready. Tasty Chicken says it's ready. You put that on. Then we're gonna get the beans. All right. Here we go. Got my beans again. Put the beans on there nicely. Then what do I need to do? I need to get my salsa. I gotta get some salsa with me. And then I have, where is my avocado? So watch this. I'm gonna do a little different, y'all. All right, you ready? I'm just gonna take the avocado with the spoon. Gonna put that on there. Oh man, this is literally meals to go. Because you can just do this quickly, get it all nice and ready. A little bit of salsa. Oops. A little bit of salsa. And the main ingredient now to make this bean burrito a chicken bean burrito is we're going to need some chicken. All right, so let's make sure everybody's off. Everybody's ready. Y'all ready for the chicken? And then you just put the chicken on there. And then you have a chicken, or tasty chicken bean burrito. And then you roll it same way as we did before. Oh man, this thing is getting bigger and tastier. And you roll that there, and that is ready to go. Let me just show you real quick how to finish that peppered pasta. It's so easy. All you do is you take that, pour that over the top. All right, lovely. Woo-wee. Who said you can't eat healthy on the run? And I'm just gonna try one last one with that tasty chicken. Go ahead, we're gonna pour that over that salad there so it's nice and ready to go. These are simple recipes that you can do. And if you're interested and you wanna have this at your church, the 24-day challenge, you have our contact details. Let's get started and develop some healthy habits.
If you would like to contact Nyse Collins, you can do so by writing to Sonore Life Consultants, Post Office Box 100118, Brooklyn, New York 11210. That's Sonore Life Consultants, Post Office Box 100118, Brooklyn, New York 11210. You can call them at 817-719-3099. That's 817-719-3099. You can also visit them online at sonorelife.com. That's SANARE life.com.
So now we have it. The end of our food or take it to go session. It was real fun and real simple and easy. And if you notice here today, there's some simple things that you can do it quickly. But the key to taking food to go is you have to have a plan of action. Make one recipe count for two recipes by 1 second doing it as a hot recipe, maybe tomorrow doing it as a cold. And if you notice with some of them, you can use the same base as a recipe, you just mix up some of the ingredients. So let's take a quick look at some of the items that we covered here today. We did what is known as the Blazing Bran Muffins. Blazing Bran Muffins and the Cranana Muffins. What in the world is that? The mixture between cranberries and bananas. Then we went on and we did what is known as our brisk bean burrito. And we had so much fun. It was so easy. We made a second one, a brisk bean chicken burrito, as you can see there. Then we made our cheesy wheezy sauce. Real simple, real easy. You can use this to make your own macaroni and cheese. You can do it on the bean burritos. You can even do it on a salad. Wait, I didn't do it on a salad. Then we have what is known as the tasty chicken salad. People eat chicken salad. We eat chicken salads, which is the tofu chicken that we made there. And one of the key ingredients to get things to go is you have to have what is known as your chicken style seasoning. Please don't become addicted to that because it's so easy and simple to do. Then we finished it off with our peppered pasta. I went ahead and I chopped in some of my favorite ingredients, which is known as basil and paprika. If you all know, paprika is basically dried red bell peppers. Real simple, real easy to get started on your 24-day challenge. Food that you can eat to go. So you heard it here first on 3ABN Today Cooking with yours truly, Nyse Collins.